I suspect that when one has provided research on request or provided sources and the sources have been checked out and have not said what the person providing them says that they say, I suppose this could make a person reluctant to offer to provide sources. I do not, of course, claim to know their motives. I do know that this time around, the teachers union, I believe that in your state it's ISTA, Indiana State Teachers Association, has been having people testify and speak on behalf of licensing and claim that there is research. I did try to contact them and find out what they were citing to find out if it was anything verifiable or if it was, as so often in this business, misrepresentation and misquotation. So my concern over and above the merits or demerits of particular writing styles, which is something that the Board of Education in any state or district needs to look at if they're deciding what to teach. Over and above that, we have to ask, why is a bill that has had a 4-year run of being a bill, and during which in every year something has been found to be incorrect about the source material that was offered or alluded to in its support, why should such a bill with such a history be given consideration? If 95% of constituents of Lacings want it, which is what she's saying, I presume that she can document that, and if that's a fact, she should be mentioning it as she is. However, other things that she is mentioning are palpably not facts, and I would suspect that if she had actual research that supported Cursive, that she would be mentioning it, and that it would have checked out by this time. And so far, I have seen no evidence that even one source she ever mentioned at any time has panned out. Lacing makes, and very commendably so, the point that we need to be able to read historic documents such as the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. What she doesn't like to tell you is that you don't have to write in a certain form of writing in order to read it. If that were so, we'd have to learn to read 1,000,000 times over, as there are 1,000,000 type fonts in the world. Certain newspapers, for instance, have their mastheads in forms of writing that nobody ever learns to read to write, but we read those just fine. The fact remains that you can read a writing form without writing it. In fact, there is actually software, free software, believe it or not, an iPad app that within an hour or less can teach anyone who can read print to read cursive. That app is called Read Cursive. It is an iPad app, and in the interest of honest disclosure, it's an iPad app that I designed with an educational software company, but it is free, so I am not making any money by mentioning this app. To my personal knowledge, there are now 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and even 5- and 4-year-olds out there reading cursive because of this app. They're certainly not writing cursive, but if they can read something in print, they can read something in cursive. And when I tell some of these kids, you know, there's a lady in a state called Indiana, and she says that it's important, that the reason that's important to write cursive because if you don't write cursive, there's no way to read cursive. Well, they just laugh and typically proceed to read something to me in cursive to show that they can do it. We have to wonder, why would we spend years teaching people to write cursive for the sake of reading it when we can read cursive? In 1 hour or less, we can learn to read cursive, and admittedly, this should be taught. This is not being taught. Why are we claiming the signature card, which is the other thing she pulls when she talks about the need for an individual signature? Question document examiners with whom I've consulted, and again, their names are available on request, tell me that all handwriting is individual and can't help being so, even printed handwriting. The plainer a handwriting is, the more individual it is, and this is why first-grade teachers can tell who wrote a worksheet in print writing, even if the student did not put his or her name on the worksheet. Now, we have to wonder, why is someone who is very commendably saying, yes, we must read the originals of documents for ourselves, why is such a person pointing us to other documents, to research documents, and then when we read them for ourselves, we find the documents don't say what it is that she tells us they said. Just as we would not want to have to depend on someone else to read us the Constitution or the Declaration and tell us what it meant and maybe tell us wrong. And that is a big danger, and Lysing is correct there. So I do not think that we would want to be misinformed on the research. And it is very sad that someone who correctly stresses the importance of reading our national documents for ourselves and understanding them correctly would be less than diligent about making sure that we understand what's in the research documents correctly. It's almost as if she didn't expect that when she mentioned a source, people would be capable of looking it up and reading it for themselves.
Kate, I hate to interrupt you. I've never, tell you what, I feel as if I think we all have felt as if we have been to class. You have been able to talk for 12 minutes and without interruption. And bless your heart, you've done a fantastic job, but we're out of time.
Thank you very much for the time we had.
Absolutely. Kate Gladstone, handwritingthatworks.com.
No, correction. Handwriting repair / handwriting that works. Yes, you have handwritingthatworks.com is my website, but the full business name is handwriting repair / handwriting that works.
Beautiful. She works all over the world as a handwriting teacher and remediator, and she's awesome. Kate, thank you so much. What a great lesson you've taught us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.